Now what we do know is this Catholic high school was broken into around 11 p.m. last night. We tried talking to officials inside the high school and they keep telling us no comment, but police are inside still investigating. This is where they used to tally the votes for Clark County right behind me, but not anymore. This year instead it's done by congressional districts. Now that's delaying knowing where our 76 delegates are headed. That 76 might seem like a lot. In fact, more than any other state voting today. But Gingrich won't take home all 76 unless he wins by more than 50% of his home turf vote. Last year, Athens received the Bike Friendly Community Award from the League of American Bicyclists. They got this among only 21 other cities in the United States. If they keep making improvements like adding bike lanes like this one, they can go from the bronze to the silver level. Bike lanes like this keep bikers off the road and away from cars and buses. This is Tanya Creek. It was looked at back in 2010. It's described as an urbanized creek because it's surrounded by most of the University of Georgia, including Sanford Stadium. I was at the Alps Road post office just moments ago, and that's supposed to be their busiest location. Now it closed at 5 o'clock, but people were still rushing in and out to file those last-minute tax returns.
Just as tax returns are filing into the IRS, so are people to the Olympic Drive post office. One of them is Peter Davis, your typical postponer. He was running into the post office around noon today. He wasn't the only one. His advice to others?
Don't do it. Yeah, don't procrastinate.
However, the main office off Olympic Drive didn't have the expected traffic. But for those of you that don't want to deal with the post office, there are other options.
Don't forget, you can also file your tax returns online at places like H&R Block if your post offices aren't open. Now you can do this online up until midnight.
The most important thing to remember, no matter what, is to file something.
If you don't have the money to pay it, what you need to do is file the return, send them as much as you can. Normally, if you can put together an agreement that will pay it off in 18 to 24 months, they'll work with you.
But don't let the clock tick down to midnight and avoid the inevitable.
The penalties for not filing are literally 10 times as high as the penalties for not paying. So you want to file it regardless.
Here's a list of Athens area post offices and what time they will close. They're all operating at their regular hours, with the last one shutting their doors at 7 p.m.
You can check out that full list again on Grady News Source's Facebook page. Well, Anna, Athens is a bike-friendly community, but with so many students riding to and from school, it can still be a hazard. If cyclists in Atlanta get their way, state roads here in Athens could be seeing some changes. Cyclists from all over pedaled into the state capitol with a purpose.
We need to remind the legislature that bicyclists know where the Capitol is, and we're organized, and they need to pay attention to us.
Georgia Bikes, who helps sponsor the event, wants to make sure future road projects meet the needs of cyclists and protects their legal rights. They also want to secure a fair share of dedicated funding for bicycle facilities and infrastructure. The Alliance of Biking and Walking released their 2012 benchmark report, rating Georgia the 41st worst among bike safety. Now, Athens is making improvements. They received the Bike Friendly Community Award last year. But the high volume of cyclists means there's still a long way to go. If the Complete Streets policy passes, state roads like Millage, Prince, Broad, and Atlanta Highway would have to include improvements fit for walkers and cyclists anytime they are repaired.
We want them to recognize that when they're building and designing roads and highways and streets, that streets are not just for cars, they're for people.
An estimated 1,500 people turned out on the steps of the Capitol for the rally today, including 35 mayors from Metro Atlanta. I spoke to Brent Bice, the executive director of Georgia Bikes, and he told me the most successful moment of the day was getting Gainesville State Senator Butch Miller to change his mind about legislation that calls for riders to cycle single file on roads. Most parents think their high school kids spend enough time online. Now they might have to log some more hours just to graduate. The Georgia Senate wants to require high schoolers to take at least one online class to get that diploma. The bill passed the Senate today under fire from some lawmakers.
You can put a tutu on a pig, but it's still a pig. You could put a tutu on a mandate, but it's still a mandate.
Schools could use private online education providers
Courses offered by other online public schools, colleges such as UGA, or the Georgia Virtual School, which is run by the Department of Education. A main concern remains at the forefront. Can rural areas get easy access to the internet?
They don't have a Mandarin Chinese teacher. They don't have a physics teacher. They may not have a Calculus 2 teacher. So some of the schools that don't have access to these classes and these students are going to be the students in schools that are most helped.
Supporters say that online classes will save the school system's money. Senate Majority Leader Chip Rogers say the cost of the online courses will be capped at $250 per person. For Grady News Source, I'm Leah Breevoort. When you're putting a bite of this in your mouth, the last thing on your mind is what you're eating it on. But not for Henry Twigg, owner of this crepe stand. When he served his customers every week at the old biscuit mill, he couldn't stop thinking about how many trees those paper plates were wasting. He decided to throw them out for good. Now when this place springs to life every Saturday morning, hundreds of vendors cook up a meal worth salivating over. Only 2 of them serve it to you on plastic. Twigg has tried to spread the movement, but other vendors seem to be content using paper. For now, it's just him and this Belgian waffle stand. Both have an easy way of making sure you return the plates, and customers don't seem to mind.
The way they do it is you give them an extra $5 for your meal, and once you turn it in, they give you your $5 back.
The only complaints they've gotten is having to fight crowds to get their money back. But they've come up with a solution for that too. No matter where you buy your food, you can either turn it in here at the Belgian waffle stand, or you can turn it in here at the crepe bar. You'll get your $5 back at either location. The stalls are conveniently located on opposite ends of the market to make it easier for customers to enjoy their food and then the rest of what Old Biscuit Mill has to offer, including a helping hand. When one of these plates is too scratched or worn to reuse, another vendor melts it down for Twigg, back into a brand new one. The plastic never has to be thrown away. Chow thinks the idea should be applied all over.
So it's a great way to encourage people to use less paper plates and saves resources. And these are plastic, so you can easily wash them and reuse them next week.
All it takes is someone making the right move. One plate can go a long way. Reporting from Cape Town, South Africa, I'm Leah Breevoort for Grady News Source. Yes, I'm standing outside admissions where they're making tough decisions about who will stay and who will go. President Adams said on Wednesday that the number of applicants will set a new record for UGA. But although there's more people applying, they still only have about 5,000 slots to fill.
Go dogs, stick 'em! Woof, 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 woof.
Between 19 and 20,000 students want to be yelling that between the hedges in the fall, a record number for the University of Georgia. Last year, UGA received a little over 18,000 applications. Eliza Rothstein is one of the many who applied this year. The difference is she already got that coveted letter everyone is waiting for.
I think I got an email that was like, check your status. And then I went to the page and they have these fireworks, these little animated fireworks. So that was a lot of fun.
The rest of the students will learn their fate tomorrow afternoon. Whitney Masyoka says there's a lot of pressure riding on it.
It's just, I don't know, it can go either way, and I know exactly how everybody else is feeling, so we're all in the same boat.
UGA offers slots for about half the people that turned in these applications. They figure 50% of those will turn down the Bulldogs offer for other schools. But that didn't happen last year. They had a larger freshman class than they could handle. Eliza put in applications for Yale, Harvard, and Columbia. Whitney got her acceptance from Emory yesterday. For the UGA admissions office, it isn't about Eliza and Whitney. It's about hitting their goal of an incoming class of around 5,200 students. Academically, the UGA freshman class will be among the top 15 best in public universities in the U.S. Their average SAT score, 1275.